Have you ever had this happen? The doorbell rings, totally unexpected. And sure, it's a friend, which should be a good thing. But instead, you get this jolt of, what, anxiety? Suddenly, your own home, your sanctuary, feels, well, invaded. Today, we're going to unpack the science behind that very specific, very real feeling.
So, let's just dive right in with the big question. The one you've probably felt, but maybe never actually said out loud. It's not that you don't like the person standing at your door, not at all. It's that their surprise arrival triggers something deep, something almost primal.
And if you felt that, you are so not alone. It's a real, physical thing. That sudden tension, the feeling that your internal battery just nosedived 20% before you've even managed a hello, that's what we're talking about. And it's not you overreacting. It's a response that is deeply wired into us.
Okay, so to really get why this happens, we have to start with the space itself. We need to talk about your home.
This is the key idea, right here, territorial comfort. And this is so much more than just having a roof over your head. It's about having a place where your brain can finally let its guard down, where you feel completely safe, completely at ease. It is your psychological home base.
So let's think about our homes a little differently. It's not just a place you live, it's a tool you use. You know, after a long day of dealing with, well, the world, your home is where you come to hit that reset button. It's where you recalibrate, recharge, and just exist without any pressure.
And right here, this is the fundamental conflict. The second someone shows up unannounced, you are suddenly shoved into performance mode, and that performance actively drains your battery. The silence, the solitude you depend on to recharge, which is basically your mental oxygen, is just gone.
So why is that mental oxygen so incredibly crucial? Let's get into the really cool science that's going on inside your head. It explains why your brain doesn't just want this quiet little sanctuary, it actually genuinely needs it.
Believe it or not, this whole feeling can be traced right here to the very front of your brain. Your prefrontal cortex is basically the command center for all your higher-level thinking, your personality, the whole shebang.
Now here is the most important part. For this part of your brain to do its job properly, to sort through your thoughts, manage your feelings, make plans, it needs a calm, quiet environment. An unexpected social demand. It's like trying to do your taxes while someone is shouting directly into your ear. It just doesn't work.
And this is just so important to understand. That quiet time isn't you being antisocial or lazy. It's a fundamental biological process. It's literally your brain plugging itself into the charger. And an unexpected guest, they just yank the cord out of the wall halfway through.
And what's really fascinating is that our brains have totally different chemical rewards for these two states. We've all heard of dopamine, right? That's the feel-good hit we get from exciting social stuff. But there's another reward system, one for quiet, deep focus, and it's driven by something called acetylcholine. It gives you this pleasant, calm feeling of concentration. And for a lot of us, that's the feeling we're really after.
All right, let's move on because we need to talk about a huge social myth that is probably causing you a ton of unnecessary guilt about all this. It's this idea that we should always be on, always ready to entertain.
I mean, we see it everywhere, don't we? This immense pressure to have a super busy social life, to always say yes, to be the perfect host at a moment's notice. There's this unspoken belief that busyness is the same thing as a successful life.
But hang on, let's really question that. Is all that social busyness actually productive? Or is it possible that the real work, the creative ideas, the emotional breakthroughs, the deep thinking, is actually happening when you're all alone? See, protecting your peace isn't lazy, it's absolutely essential for that heavy lifting. Which brings us to the final, and honestly, the most important part of all this. It's about time we stopped feeling guilty and started seeing this need for what it really is, a genuine source of strength.
Let's just get this crystal clear. That feeling of dread or even just saying no to a surprise visit, it is not you being rude. It is not you being a bad friend.
What it is your brain and your nervous system telling you exactly what they need to function at their best. It is just as valid and just as important as your need for food or a good night's sleep.
And here is the big shift in how we look at this. When you understand this need and you learn to protect it, you are not being weak or difficult. You are actively, consciously cultivating your own personal power.
Because that's really what this all boils down to. Guarding your mental space, your sanctuary, is one of the highest forms of self-care you can practice. That quiet time is the fuel.
It's the fuel for your power, for your creativity, and for your deep understanding of who you are.
So the next time you hear that unexpected doorbell ring and you feel that familiar tightness in your chest, I want you to remember this. Your home is so much more than walls. It's a sanctuary for your mind. And the silence you crave? It isn't emptiness. It is oxygen. It's the fuel of your inner power. Don't be afraid to protect it.